exciting packages for every level of donation, including one-on-one call with me, Kevin Taylor, access to some of the documents before they go live. You can also have dinner with me in Washington, D.C. to discuss the issues. My fellow Ghanaians, remember, it's Patreon, patreon.com/with all due respect. Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor, host of With All Due Respect. As you know, With All Due Respect has been self-produced for the past 3 years. We have not accepted any money or resources outside in order to maintain the integrity of the platform. We are an anti-corruption platform. Our work doesn't excite or encourage compromised stakeholders. That also means we cannot take funds from just anyone. As our platform grows, the need for increased quality of work and production requires increased resources during this election year and beyond. In order to maintain our anti-corruption stance and continue to speak for everyday people without clout or connections in higher places, we cannot rely on the same entities we critique for continually keeping their hands in the cookie jar to be the ones who keep our work going. In that view, I welcome your support and participation in keeping this work ongoing. This platform is for the people, so we think it is only right for the people to sustain it. Now, this is a simple thing you have to do. Just visit patreon.com/with all due respect. Patreon.com/with all due respect, or click the link at the bottom of the video. For Ghanaians or our viewers in Ghana, we are putting together a Ghanaian payment processor on our website. Please again, do not send any donation to any platform apart from patreon.com/with all due respect or loudsilenceradio.com donation page. You can donate as low as $10. Yes, $10, and we have exciting packages for every level of donation, including one-on-one call with me, Kevin Taylor, access to some of the documents before they go live. You can also have dinner with me in Washington, D.C. to discuss the issues. My fellow Ghanaians, remember, it's Patreon, patreon.com/with all due respect. Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor, host of With All Due Respect. As you know, With All Due Respect has been self-produced for the past 3 years. We have not accepted any money or resources outside in order to maintain the integrity of the platform. We are an anti-corruption platform. Our work doesn't excite or encourage compromised stakeholders. That also means we cannot take funds from just anyone. As our platform grows, the need for increased quality of work and production requires increased resources during this election year and beyond. In order to maintain our anti-corruption stance and continue to speak for everyday people without clout or connections in higher places, we cannot rely on the same entities we critique for continually keeping their hands in the cookie jar to be the ones who keep our work going. In that view, I welcome your support and participation in keeping this work ongoing. This platform is for the people, so we think it is only right for the people to sustain it. Now, this is a simple thing you have to do. Just visit patreon.com/with all due respect. Patreon.com/with all due respect, or click the link at the bottom of the video. For Ghanaians or our viewers in Ghana, we are putting together a Ghanaian payment processor on our website. Please again, do not send any donation to any platform apart from patreon.com/with all due respect or Loud Silence.
Hello and welcome to High Impact Politics with me today, Kunle Olomofe, right here on Loud Silence Radio and TV Network, right here in Washington, D.C. You can follow us right now to watch live on YouTube. If you're not already on YouTube, just go to YouTube and search for Loud Silence Radio and TV. Catch us on there. And there's 2 Facebook pages. You can go to Loud Silence Radio and TV on Facebook, and you can also go to With All Due Respect on Facebook as well, and you'd be able to watch us live from any of those 3 channels right now. Also, we have these sessions, editions of the show are recorded, so you can come back and watch at a later time or later date. The topic for today is sad. You would notice that my demeanor is a little bit mellow today, and that's because the topic of today for me is very sad in multiple ways. Usually the topics that I pick would be sad, but this particularly sad from multiple different angles. There is a story that has been making the rounds recently in the past several days. I'm sure you've you've already stumbled across that story now of a young boy who was allegedly bullied, and then the story changed to, not being a real story, and it was a way to scam people via social media, and then it was back to no, it's a real story, and then back to no, it's a fake story, and it just kept on going back and forth. And I think that we have all really lost, at least many of us have lost sight of what is really important in this world anymore. It's sad because before the advent of social media and the internet the way it is today, it used to be that stories were well vetted before they were put into the public domain. And a story would be vetted as in depth as possible by real journalists of the old cadre. And they would only bring you a story. You would only see it on your TV screen or see it in your newspapers after the story has been proven to be real and true and fact-based. And usually those stories were not even based on opinions of the reporters, but on actual facts for and against whatever the story was. That was what journalism used to be. That was what news used to be. That was what the spread of information used to be before the advent of this thing called social media. And for better or worse, social media has allowed us to come into a world now where people can say whatever they want. They can say anything they like and get away with it in most cases. At the same time, you don't want to stop people from having their rights to free expression. I did an interview a couple of years ago that I'm going to have my producer play for us. It's about fake news, and the Nigerian government was trying to clamp down on the spread of fake news in Nigeria, across Nigeria, using social media. And so somebody put forth a proposal to put into law a way to clamp down on people who spread fake news on social media. The challenge with that, which you'll see in that video, is that I opposed that because at some point you then get to the question, who determines what is fake news? Who determines what punishment should be meted out to somebody who spreads information unwittingly or even knowingly? Who decides? And I remember back when in the days when I was growing up, I remember that the newspapers of those days used to be monitored by the security forces of the Nigerian community, as you want to put it, as you might put it. And the security forces would be the ones monitoring the radio stations, the TV stations, and the newspapers. If they saw something that a newspaper published that was against the government in the 80s, 70s, 80s, even the 90s, you would see a police a clamp down, on these establishments. So when the social media, anti-fake news social media bill was being talked about, that was the image that came to my mind. So when the government doesn't like something that you say, they can send the police to your house and say, you posted XYZ on social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. It was wrong. It was against the government. It was hate speech, was whatever they want to say it was. And the next thing you know, you are in prison. And the question then is, what if what you actually shared was real, was true, was justified to be shared, but the government decides, no, they don't want you to share it, and they still clamp down on you? So you can see it's a very dicey situation that we're in. I think that the bottom line effect of this is whether or not the governments get involved, whether or not there's a clamp down on fake news. I think the people, you, me, and whoever else may be watching this or listening to this, I think the responsibility actually lies with us. At the end of the day, if you're an irresponsible adult who shares information that you have not yet vetted, who shares information you have not verified, who shares information you don't know whether it is true or not true, who shares information that may or may not cause a problem if you share it, and you share it gladly, you are an irresponsible adult, an irresponsible citizen of whatever country you happen to be a part of. And I think that's the bottom line. The government can clamp down on us as much as they want or not clamp down on us. But we as individuals who have this power in our hands that, really is the first time in human history that this kind of power has been in the hands of millions of people at the same time. And I go on social media and I see a lot of people disrespectfully sharing information that they have not yet personally verified. So then the question that arises, how can you personally verify everything that you share? You probably can't do that. But then if you share the information with a caveat above it, I have not verified the information below. I don't know if it's real or not, but I want to have your views on it if it happens to be so. That's one angle. You see a lot of people sharing content. They just press the share button, and they assume that you should know that they don't really believe what they just shared. I've seen a lot of posts online where people say, I just shared it. I'm not for or against it. I just shared it. But you are part of the apparatus that is spreading that bad information. So, there's a lot of angles to this thing. There's a lot of issues that that we need to discuss about this particular problem. And if a solution can be found, that would be great. If not, I guess we now live in a world where information controls everything that we do. And now the bad people would control that information. At the end of the day, you can see where we're headed. I would like my producer to put up a picture of the young man that started this latest internet scandal back and forth. I don't recall his name now. I think it's Quaden or something. Quaden Bales, I think is his name. I don't know if the picture is up yet. So you can see a picture there of a young man or a person, a young boy, a young man, whatever it is, a person who is very sad on the left, and an image of somebody who potentially is the same person who is smiling and happy. Now, who are we to judge if somebody is smiling and happy in one photo doesn't mean that he cannot be sad at another point in his life. That's not the point of me putting up this photo. The point is that this story has created an outrage, an uproar, a scandal that it really should not have created. If only people were responsible. People are responsible when they share information. So the story about this young man is allegedly, the one on the left is from a video stating that he was being bullied in school. And you can see there he's wearing a school uniform. And he was being bullied in school, and allegedly his mother was taking a video of him, talking to him, and he was responding, saying things about wanting to, kill himself and all of these things. Now, I don't want to play the video for copyright reasons. I don't want to get into that, into the muddy waters of copyright reasons, which is another thing that, I need to, let me quickly segue to that before I get back to this story, is that my producer and I and, others in the team today discussed at length whether we wanted to share these videos or not. And the reason is because it would be nice for us to share the videos so that you will see it. If you've seen it before, you can see it again. If you haven't seen it before, you'd be able to see it again. But then the question arose of copyright infringement. Would we be infringing on certain copyrights? Would we, be violating certain laws, either etiquette-wise or legally? And we made a joint, responsible decision to not share the videos or play the videos because we were not sure what was infringing on copyright and what was not. That is the kind of journalism that used to exist many years ago. It doesn't exist in large proportion anymore. Now people just do whatever they want, whether it infringes or it doesn't infringe on something. I don't care. I just want to get clicks. I just want to get comments. I just want to get views. I just want people to hear this information. and you share it without thinking responsibly before you do so. So we've shared an image of this to avoid as much as we can copyright issues with sharing the video, even though multiple millions of people are indeed sharing that video. I chose not to do so. So going back to the story now, this young man allegedly, in the shot to your left where he's in a school uniform, or allegedly in a school uniform there, he's crying and the mother is filming him, and they're talking, you know, and he's complaining about being bullied and he's tired of this world and he wants to go, and he's being bullied because, you know, obviously he looks different from, you know, most people do. The issue is this: if that story is actually true, the underlying issue of a child being bullied to that point would break anybody's heart. If you have a human heart, you would probably even want to give up so much of what you have to protect such a child. The truth of it is that there are children that are going through this as we speak. Whether they may not be to the point of killing themselves, they may, whatever it is, we know as you and I are here right now, there are children that are coming home from school crying because they were bullied, crying because somebody said something to them that hurt their feelings, and there's no protection for those children. I think that we as a society have begun to really lose sight of what is important, whether this story is true or not, real or not real. It became a scandal of this person scammed you, you are a fool for believing it, and people forgot about the issue of bullying. I am not saying ignore the effect of potentially, you know, somebody sharing a fake story and then profiting off it, because allegedly this child and his mother have now, you know, made, really a lot of money from this issue. Hundreds of thousands of dollars as the story goes. So I'm not saying don't follow up with that and don't focus on it and don't talk about the fake news aspect of, you know, such an experience if it is indeed fake news. But I think that that issue of it being fake or not fake overtook the real issue. The real issue that many of our children are going through every blessed day. I have sons who are young boys, and they have come home to me crying, sobbing. Daddy, this person said this to me. Daddy, this person shoved me into this place, injured me. Daddy, these people do this to me every day. These people, you know, the word is not, you know, the child cannot use the word ostracize, but generally that's what they're trying to say. These people left me out. They ostracized me. Even some of my children have complained of the teachers in their schools ostracizing them, telling other children to ostracize this one. Don't talk to this child because he's a naughty child. He will now tell the whole classroom, say shame. We all know it. Shame. And, you know, those irresponsible behaviors. We have seen it for decades. And we have collectively done nothing to stop it. But when we get on social media, it is exciting to start talking about fake news. His fake story. He made money off you. He make money. What relevance is that? What relevance is it to the people who actually need the help? For bad or good, these people that put up this video, let's say they did it for a bad reason, it still has a good, potentially a good thing that we can take out of it and start talking about bullying and start saving children's lives. If they did it for bad, potentially we can focus on that and investigate the story, get them taken care of legally. But what are you seeing out there? Just rumors being spread back and forth from both sides of the situation. You know, people talking about it is real, it is not real. Neither side offering irrefutable facts. Neither side. Like I said, if you look at that, I don't know if the producer can bring up that picture again. That child is in a school uniform in that picture. Which big media house that picked this story has said That school uniform, we are going to investigate which school that is. We are going to investigate what province it is in or wherever that school is located, the name of the school, the principal of that school, the children that were involved in this issue, the teachers. Even if they're not going to name any names, they're going to do the investigation and they're going to make that the major story. How many times have you seen that since this story came out? Instead, the major news media are out there talking about whether the picture on the right was when he was happy, and they showed videos of when he was, came on air to talk about being bullied when he was 4 years old. And, it's the irresponsibility in our media today is also, it breaks my heart, because as a media person myself, I know what the rules are for this profession. I know what the standards are. What used to be the standards. But social media, whether it's millennial thinking, whether it's some, I don't know what the level of irresponsibility that we have taken on, generally now speaking, as a society, is something that should make all of us ashamed. Every single person, whether you're involved or not involved. This is not what we should be doing with this kind of powerful media that we have. All these powerful tools that we are so blessed with. Instead, most people are interested in making money off of somebody or something. Or just, spreading rumors just for the fun of it. Or arguing on social media just for the fun of it. I put it to you that 10 years, 20 years from now, a lot of the things that you spend time on social media, positive, negative, you will regret not doing it the right way. I can say that to you because I started using the internet long before many people in the world even knew what it was. I came online first in 1997, and I started using the computer and the internet regularly since 1997. I made money as a businessman in 1997. In the early 2000s, I was using this tool that many people are taking for granted, using it to build my life as a young man. I know the effect of this tool. And I know that if you don't take it seriously, 20 years down the line, as it is now for me, 20 years down the line, I'm thinking, oh, I could have done this and I could have done that. I missed that opportunity. I promise you that 20 years from today, the irresponsible behavior that you might be involved in, spreading information that you didn't verify, you would come back and reflect on it, but it will be too late. Now is the time for us to get serious about this. If you're going to share information online, take the time to verify it. Go online, pick up the telephone, search through other mediums. Don't just share things because you have the power to share. That is rule number one. If you cannot verify something, perhaps you don't have the time, or you've looked for information and you were not able to corroborate information for whatever reason from sources you believe are reliable, when you share, put a caveat above, not below, in bold letters. I have not verified this information. I am sharing it because I found it intriguing. If anybody has a verified, anything to corroborate this, please share in the comments. Start to share responsibly. Start to use Facebook and social media in general with a responsible mindset. I think there's a saying that goes, to whom much is given, very much more is expected. We have this powerful medium, this medium that our forefathers never dreamed they would ever have. This medium that 20, 30 years ago, you could only come online and be live to the world after spending 20 to 30 to 40 million dollars. And even at that, you wouldn't still get the best quality. But now you spend a couple of $100s here and there and you are online to the whole world. There is a responsibility that should come with such power, such gifts. And we, as a general society, have refused to take responsibility. It includes the media, the normal, what you call the traditional media. I'm not going to name any names, but we all know them. The biggest names in media and the smallest names in media, how many of them responsibly share information in this 21st century? If you go to some of the biggest name media houses, you will see a story they posted 2 days ago. They will be posting a news story to tell you that the story they posted 2 days ago was not really accurate. They just found out recently that it was not accurate. What kind of level of disrespect for society must you have to have that kind of power and not be patient enough to verify information before you plaster headlines all over the place, either causing havoc or whatever you do? This must stop. It has to stop. Because I guarantee you that if it doesn't stop, you and I will pay for it. Elections are coming up all over the world in different locations for different things. People are now taking advantage of social media to spread information that is, they know it is not true. But if as a society, as a group on social media, we all know that when somebody posts something, if he doesn't post a caveat, don't believe him. He's probably a propagandist. If he doesn't post links verifying the information he shared, don't believe him. He's probably a propagandist. If you don't do it as a group, people will make fools of you. My boss here was talking about it. I wish he could come on air, but he can't right now. He said that in a world of 7 billion people, 7 billion people, you will always find 1 billion mugus. 1 billion magas. 1 billion people who don't care whether you lie to them or not. 1 billion people who will spread information anyway, doesn't matter. I think that at this point in our lives, in the 21st century, if we refuse to take responsibility, whatever we get as a society in the next 20, 30 years, we deserve it. That's my take on this issue. To be honest with you, I'm not very excited because there are a lot of reasons why this should not have been what I should focus my attention on. It should have been on this plight of potentially a child that may have been bullied and children that are bullied that need to be saved. But unfortunately, this is what we have to spend our time on. It's heartbreaking. It really indeed is heartbreaking. I want my producer to go ahead and play the video that I talked about where I was invited to talk on fake news and what the government should and shouldn't do. Yes, that video being interviewed, and when that video, I want you to watch that. It's about 5 minutes or so. It may not be the whole video that I'll play, but when we come back from that, we pick the discussion from there and talk about what we can do to protect ourselves from fake news, spread of lies, and propaganda using social media. We'll be right back once my producer is ready.
Well, joining us now in the studio is an information management strategist, Olomofe Kunle. Thank you for your time on TVC News Hour. Now, do you agree with the information minister, this statement about publication of false news, especially on the social media?
I disagree. I disagree completely. Insurgency and terrorism can never be compared with false news or fake news on social media. And I think this is one key area that the government needs to focus their energies on instead of trying to create mass hysteria. Social media is an information platform. You have all manner of people, educated, semi-educated, intelligent, some a little bit unintelligent. So it's true, if you pass information to those people and it's false, it could create, some kind of a spiral effect or a domino effect. That is very true. But, people dropping bombs and throwing and murdering people can never be compared to that. We shouldn't compare two completely different situations. Now, okay, you want to
carry on.
I think it's important to note with regard to social media, which is what they're talking about here, and false news, the government has extreme powers here with regard to controlling information that comes from the government, not from the people. The people have a right to talk about whatever they want to talk about, as long as they are not breaking any laws. They can talk about anything. They can joke. They can post memes. They call them memes, images. It is, a right of the people. You can't take that away. And you mustn't create these kinds of statements that give you the opportunity to then clamp down on people's rights. That's completely wrong, and I disagree with that.
All right, let's look at the other side of it.
Yes.
How important information management is to governance,
Yes.
accountability,
That's
and
right.
transparency in governance.
That's a good question. That's a good concept to look at. You know, just like talking about this right now. When you have false information and you have true information and you have a government that has so many parastatals, so many agencies, so many people working for government, we complain about a big government and we want a smaller government. But the truth is we have a big government that doesn't really do a good job, especially when it comes to information dissemination. You have to put information out to counter the false information. And the funny part of that is you have a power to put good information out before the false information comes out. There's a general problem with the Nigerian government when it comes to information management or information dissemination. They tend to give information out in little bites. You know, they don't give much detail. They just... So then what that causes is people are confused. They don't know the full details.
And it gives room to speculation.
It gives room to speculation by the media, gives room to speculation by the populace, gives room for mischief by people who just might be trying to have some fun, or people who are trying to subvert the government. So really, the fault starts from the government.
Well, isn't that what the minister is trying to say in essence, really, that someone in the comfort of his room could just post fake information on the social media, and then people, for example, the northeastern part of Nigeria could act on it, or something as sensitive as what is happening in southern Kaduna at the moment. You call that a chief executive officer of a company, an entertainment company, was arrested by the DSS some days ago because he accepted and said that his driver gave him false information that he thought was real, and then apologized to the public, and it was picked up because they said it could have instigated more violence, more people, you know, to carry out violence in the southern part of Kaduna. And this is what the minister is trying to say, that there is need to check dissemination of false information, especially on the social media, which is pretty much difficult to control.
I have to put this to you, though. How far different from that is living in a police state, when somebody can't post information that he believes is true, and then the next thing he knows, he's picked up by the DSS. That's a police state. That's as close to a police state as you can get. You know, you can't post information. It might be false. The government has a bigger parastatal than we do. They should be pushing out information faster than anybody else can. For example, I'll use a very good example of the current president of the United States, President Donald Trump. People make fun of him all the time when he goes on Twitter. People make fun of him and say, oh, he tweets all the time. He tweets all night long. But the funny thing about that is when he tweets, he gets information out to millions of people at the same time, even faster than possibly the media could. So it's difficult to spread false information about him because you know where to go to get the information from the horse's mouth. And that's what the government is missing out on here. You need to create a platform where the entire populace knows this is the real source. So even if they get information from any other source, they know where to check to back it up. Now, with regard to posting up information and getting picked up by the DSS, I think we need to be very careful. I think the government needs to tread extremely carefully here, because when the DSS is able to pick people up at random, as it were, then we start to wonder if we have true freedom of information, true freedom of expression. It's a dangerous road to go, you know, to use the police to monitor information. What they should do is, if you see information going out there, then the information ministry comes in and propagates immediately to those areas and says, that is false information, don't pay attention to it. And then they may send a cease and desist to those people who are sending false information. Picking them up with the DSS is a bad move.
All right, Olomofe Kunle, public affairs analyst and information management strategist. Well, thank you very much indeed for coming to share your thoughts with us. Right.
Sorry, I think you were missing my sound there. Right, so hopefully you've been able to, watch that video where I was talking about fake news about 2, maybe 3 years ago now. And that had to do with the Nigerian government's attempt to clamp down on fake news, the spread of fake news across Nigeria. But the method that they were choosing to go to solve that problem, I didn't agree with at the time, and I still don't. So I would like to open phone lines, if it is at all possible, to open the phone lines now to see if there is anybody that wants to call in and talk about this issue of the spread of fake news, the spread of lies, the use of propaganda on social media, the irresponsibility or lack thereof of the media and even the citizens, the people who use social media to spread information. If you have anything you want to say about that, positive, negative, advice, information you want to share, I'd be very happy to discuss this issue with you live right now. The number to call, if my producer can put that up for you, will be +1 202 751 8769. That's +1 202 751 8769. One more time, +1 202 751 8769. That's if you want to call in and talk about you know, the issue of fake news, the effects of fake news, the effects of spreading lies on social media, the ways people do it, the ways that we can clamp down on it, the ways we can stop it, the ways we can bring a better society, you know, build a better society for our children, you know, considering that they are the ones that have been born into this world of social media. We, you know, are lucky to be adults in this world of social media, but our children are going to grow into this. So do we want our children growing up in a fake news reading environment, an environment where we can't even know, you know, somebody here in the studio was talking about something, and he said you can't even know what the truth is anymore. When somebody shares the truth, you don't know if it's really true. When somebody shares a lie, you don't know if it's really a lie, you know. And we've gotten to that point now where, you know, there's media in front of everybody, in the palm of everybody's hand, and they can do whatever they want to do. Let me read some of the comments that I'm seeing, some comments that are coming up here. And yeah, there's Julius Kofi Ganyo, who is saying, I'm willing to support this worthy cause any means possible. I'm guessing he's talking about, you know, fighting fake news. And that's a key thing, if that's what he was talking about there, because it's a cause, because we have a lot of work to do. Individually, it's not a movement that we can really form, because, you know, like I said earlier, in this world today, we have 7 billion people. You are going to always find at least 1 billion, maybe more, people who don't care whether there's fake news out there or not. They will continue sharing it, whether for their own personal gain or for whatever other reason. But if individually there are like 100,000 to 1 million people who are responsible social media users, and wherever you see people who are irresponsibly sharing information, you chip in, either, you know, advising them to share it in more responsible ways or whatever. After a while, I think, you know, social media etiquette might build to the point where when you want to share information, if you have not verified it, you should state clearly you have not verified it. And if you have verified it, share the ways that you verified it and the links to the places where you have corroborating information. It's very important. Murtala Imam is sharing something here. He said the media is the cause of this 21st century mayhem, and I have to agree with him largely there. You know, I posted something to my social media a few days ago. I said, true journalism is dead. The internet murdered it. And it's the truth. The internet, because of the way that, you know, the power of this tool called the internet and the gadgets that we use, has made it almost impossible for real media to, you know, the old traditional media to exist in the way it used to. And because they want to keep up, many of them want to keep up with the power of the internet, they have decided to put aside the true journalistic strategies and tactics that were used in the old days, that were used, you know, to build a positive image of what journalism used to be. You know, when you go around now, you see people talking about citizen journalists and people who do journalism as, you know, just as a side gig, you know, just as a hobby. I started journalism that way. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with, you know, doing it casually. But because you are doing something casually doesn't mean that you should do it recklessly. Doesn't mean you should do it irresponsibly. And I think that we should think about the impact of everything that we post and the impact of everything that we say on these public spaces and what those things will cause either in the long run or even in the short term. I am, you know, when I went against the government trying to clamp down on people posting fake news, whatever they call fake news or hate speech, you know, we have a right to free speech. You know, you may choose to spread fake news. It's your right. But the question, like I said, initially is if you are given so much, you know, so much opportunity, are you going to be responsible enough to use it properly? And that's where, you know, I think the real solution lies is not in giving the government power, you know, or the law power to clamp down on people and wreck their lives, but to find a way where society can shine a light on the positive uses of these social media platforms. Okay, I think it's important. You know, and I think that until we get to this point, until we get to the point where we can really respect what social media can really do in society, I don't think that we are going to see the true benefits from it. So I don't know if we have, producer, do you have the phone number up? Okay, so the phone number is +1 202 751 8769. In the meantime, while we're waiting for calls to come in on that, if anybody's going to call on that issue, let me finalize, you know, on this issue of fake news by saying this. My producer shared something before we came on air about this new software, this new artificial intelligence software that's been put out there that is talking about, that is focusing on creating fake real news. Let me put it that way. News that looks like it's real, but it's actually fake. So you might, for example, have an image of me sitting in this chair right now, a copy of my voice coming out of the mouth of that image, but everything being said and everything you are seeing is actually fake. It's not real. You are seeing it, you think you are looking at me, you think you are sure you are watching me live talking, and it turns out to be fake. That is being created now as we speak. The software is available, the hardware is available, they are doing it as we speak. So we are getting to a point where in the very near future, fake news will become real news, even though it is created fake, and there's no way to verify otherwise, because you could say, you are watching President Trump right now, he's talking about so and so, and it turns out that President Trump never made such a video. Or you are watching President Obama or President Muhammad Buhari on air, and he's talking about something, and it turns out that it's not him. That is coming. And unless we begin to fight against fake news as a group of, you know, individuals around the world, that kind of power is going to overtake us all in a way that it will indeed blow your mind. It's coming. It's on the way. And really, there's nothing you can do to stop it. It's technology, and it will be taken up, and it will be used. But if we don't become gullible people who just pick whatever we see and state that it is real, it's, you know, you make it a bit harder for them to succeed in spreading false information. I remember talking to somebody a few days ago about, you know, a video that she was watching in Nigeria. It was a video about the issue of the U.S. government stopping certain Nigerians, you know, coming into the U.S. on immigration visas and all that. And so a video was made, you know, to talk about that issue, and the video was spreading misinformation about that issue. I knew that because I'd done some research on it, and I pointed it out to this lady. I said, the video you are watching is actually fake. This is the information you are seeing is fake. The person got very angry and said, I don't want to believe what you are telling me. I've seen it on the video, and because it's in that video, it must be real. Like, that's what I choose to believe. We are there. We are in that situation now where it doesn't matter to some people. It doesn't matter. All they want is they saw it in their timeline. They saw it online. Their friend that they trust shared it. That's all they need to know. And they take that information and they start spreading it everywhere. You won't know the effect of something like that, the bad effect of something like that, until it works against you personally. Until somebody shares information about you that is not true. Until somebody shares a video that is proving, quote unquote and unquote, proving something that you never did, but they are sharing a video or an audio about it, and that is the evidence that people take up. Until it gets to that point, it becomes personal, people will probably not react to it. It's sad that that's the way the world works, but it looks like that's what's going to happen. People seem to think, you know, the spread of fake news is no big deal until it destroys their own lives personally. We'll see what happens when we get there. At this point, we don't know where it's going to lead, but we'll see what happens when we get to that point. There's another topic that I wanted to talk about today. I wanted to talk about the issue of, you know, I told you that every week that I come on, I'm going to talk about the Nigeria police and generally even African police and the African armed forces, but specifically the Nigerian ones, because those are the ones I've come into contact with, you know, living in Nigeria. And what I've seen is that the issue is not getting better. Instead, it appears to be getting worse, as we have said. And it looks like it's not going to get better. It looks like there is a downward spiral, there's a downward trend that seems to have been accepted by our people in general, and it seems that nothing will be done about it because we have a very different view on what is lawful and right in Africa as opposed to the way people see it here in the Western world. If my producer can go ahead and post up, there's an image of I don't know, is it up? Okay, so the image you are seeing right now is of somebody tied up like what I want to say, a wild animal. It's a human being that is tied up like that. This story appeared on the BBC a few days ago. On BBC Pigeon a few days ago, showing a man hog-tied. He's supposed to be allegedly a criminal, a terrorist, or whatever he is. And in order to prevent him from escaping, this is how either the Nigerian military or the Nigerian police chose to, you know, get him, to immobilize him. And I'm going to get to this story very soon. I want to get to this story and deal with it very, very deeply. But for now, I want my producer to actually go back to that video that we played just now and replay that video for those who might have missed it. I'm seeing somebody saying they missed the video that I talked about. So if you can play that video again, just a couple of minutes of it. And yeah, if you go ahead and play that video, and then we will get back to this story of the hog-tied human being, tied down like a worthless animal by the Nigerian armed forces. So let me know when.
Joining us now in the studio is an information management strategist, Olomofe Kunle. Thank you for your time on TV's News Hour. Now, do you agree with the information minister of this statement about publication of false news, especially on the social media?
I disagree. I disagree completely. Insurgency and terrorism can never be compared with false news or fake news on social media. And I think this is one key area that the government needs to focus their energies on instead of trying to create mass hysteria. Social media is an information platform. You have all manner of people, educated, semi-educated, intelligent, some a little bit unintelligent. So it's true, if you pass information to those people and it's false, it could create, you know, some kind of a spiral effect or a domino effect That is very true. But, you know, people dropping bombs and throwing and murdering people can never be compared to that. We shouldn't, you know, compare two completely different situations. Now, okay, you want to
just
okay,
carry
yeah.
on, carry
I
on.
think it's important to note with regard to social media, which is what they're talking about here, and false news, the government has extreme powers here with regard to controlling information that comes from the government, not from the people.
Recorded version of this, or even search on YouTube for Kunle Olomofe TVC News. You'll see a few of my TVC News interviews on there. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to replay that because I think I saw somebody, you know, saying that they missed that video. And so just to show you a little bit of it, just to talk about the issue of the fact that I've been talking about this for quite some time now. It's not, you know, just today that we picked the topic to talk about. So it's an important issue. But having said that, that's with regard to fake news. Now let's get back to some really tough news. If I can get that image back. The image of the hog-tied human being. So you're looking at that image, and I'm sure a lot of things are going through your mind. Imagine if that was you that was tied like that because you allegedly did something that is illegal. And the key word there being allegedly. You see, like I said, you know, in Africa we have a different viewpoint on punishment, on capital punishment than, you know, people in the West have. Now I want that image to stay up. I want that image to stay up. My producer can get it back on. Okay, so I want it to stay up. Now, we have a different image of punishing people for the wrongs that they do than people in the West do. But I don't want to say it's really a different image. It's what I would like to say an archaic, old-fashioned image, because this thing you are seeing here, torturing human beings, is not new, whether they believe them to be, you know, innocent or guilty. It's happened here in the Western world over centuries. It's happened in places in Asia. You know, in the Bible, you can find stories of people being stoned to death, and you know, archaic ways of punishing people. Even today, people are being stoned to death, apparently, allegedly in some parts of the world. You know, people doing this jungle justice, where you catch somebody who allegedly stole something, and then you see hundreds of people or dozens of people come and beat them to death in the middle of the street. These things in Africa are normal, even today. In the Western world, it's changing. You know, it used to exist here, but people are modernizing their way of dealing with issues, and they are putting those archaic ways of punishing people and silencing dissent and all of that. They're pushing it, you know, to the archives, to our what they would call their shameful past. But in Africa, this is not shameful. In Africa, this is still what we, you know, you see some people who are supposedly educated people. Some of them even studied abroad and were educated abroad, and they come back to Africa and they still believe in this kind of inhumane actions against other human beings. Doesn't matter whether, you know, that person actually committed a crime. The problem with punishing people is everybody can be susceptible to being lied about. And you know, we talked about fake news, so we can connect these two stories. Imagine with me for a minute that this man was just allegedly a terrorist, assuming he was not really a terrorist, but some police officers decided to make a scapegoat out of him. Perhaps he was rude to them, or one of them wanted some property of his or his wife or something, for example, and so they said they are going to call him a terrorist. And once they call him a terrorist, the punishment is going to go through. They will give it to him in a quote-unquote legal way. And they do this to him in Africa. This is illegal, but people get away with it. imagine if that was you, that somebody accused you of something you didn't do, but the police swoop in or the military swoops in and decides that you are a criminal until proven otherwise, and so they hog tie you like this. You can see where, you know, that red circle is, where you tie somebody's arms that way. It cuts off the blood circulation to the rest of his arm so that that arm is immobilized. That's the purpose of this. It's torture. It's inhumane. It's insane to behave this way. And in Africa, generally, like I said, we are still in that mindset of using insane and inhumane ways of punishing criminals, quote and unquote. I believe that we are better than this as a people. I believe that our police force, our military people should be better than this. This is a video that was on the BBC, and the producer, got wind of this and shared it with me, and I said, we're going to make a topic out of it, continuing on with our impunity of the Nigeria police force topic that we started last week. And this is the kind of thing that continues in a country where they have a president who used to be a military man. And there is no shame for such a president to see something like that and clamp down on it immediately. The BBC is able to make documentaries out of it and embarrass our country. And yet we call ourselves proud Nigerians, proud Ghanaians, proud Senegalese, proud Ethiopians. What are you proud of? Really, that's the real key question. What are you proud of? You are proud of some good things, but these bad things that overwhelm us and are destroying our society, eating away at the core of our societies, generally we ignore them. Because, it's not a big deal. Nobody has done it to you. Nobody has done it to somebody you love. So what's the big deal? You see, this is the thing that I was talking about with fake news. Imagine if somebody brought a fake story and destroyed the life of somebody you love, whether physically or emotionally, and the Nigeria police or whatever other African policeman decides to deal with them in that way. Would you then speak up? Here in the US, you have bad police people. There's no, there's no ifs, buts, or maybes about it. There are people who use force when they shouldn't. There are people who use lethal force, use their guns when they shouldn't. They exist here. But they are the minority. They are not the majority. They do it, and it's a stain on the police force when they do it here. But in Africa, when we see it and when it is done, it's only a stain for 5 seconds, or not even a stain at all. You don't see any top-level police officer come out and denounce it. You don't see them immediately call for investigations. You don't see them immediately try to stop this barbaric behavior by the people who they've armed to protect the citizens. And I think that the time has come finally to begin to change a lot of these things and do it rapidly. Like I said, I talked about the president of Nigeria, Muhammad Buhari, when he came into power. Before he came into power, I think it was in 2015, one of the things he said he was going to deal with was the issue of the impunity of the Nigeria police force. That was a major issue that he wanted to deal with. How many years has it been now, Mr. President, that the BBC is still showing videos as of 2 days ago of your policemen and your military men behaving like animals in the name of bringing people to justice? That picture that I showed you is only just an image of part of what was shown. If you see the actual video, it will turn your stomach if you have a heart and a stomach to turn. I think we have a lot of problems that require a lot of solutions. We are not ready for the solutions, but we will talk about those problems until that time comes when we indeed are ready. I'm going to ask my producer to put up the phone number again. +1202 751 8769 +1202 751 8769 if you want to talk about this issue of torture and the like that we are seeing and people are getting away with. And it's not even only the police. The police are definitely a major issue here. But like I said, in Africa, you have, definitely in Nigeria, you have a situation where, people find out about a thief in the street and everybody, people congregate and they beat the person to death. That is, and you hear the excuses. If they take him to the police, he will be released. So it is better to act like an animal and flog him to death. The question then arises, what if that person was innocent and somebody just screamed thief on the wrong person, but you've beaten him to death already? And even if he's not innocent, are we saying that being barbarians is how we want to grow our societies into modernized societies? Is that what we are saying? Because I can guarantee you that being barbaric is only going to take us back, in time and not take us forward. We have a long way to go in Africa. We have a long way to go. There are many, many things that we are not doing right. There are many things that we need to change from the core. But those changes will not come, as we can see. I told you just now that the Nigerian president made this promise many years ago that he was going to clamp down on the police doing this. But he didn't clamp down on anything. He didn't clamp down on anything. And the people that voted him into power have refused to push him on it. They have refused to insist that you must clamp down on this thing as you promised that you would. I'm seeing some comments, so I want to go to comments and see if I can grab some comments. It's not coming up properly on this device, so let me see if I can grab some comments here. In the meantime, if you want to call in, +1202. I don't know if we're having a problem with that line. There might be a problem with the line. Let me go to comments real quick. If I can just pull up some comments here. Okay, somebody is saying they couldn't hear me very well. Okay, I hope you can hear me now. Yeah, unfortunately, the comments are not coming up very well. Producer, I don't know if you can help me out to get some of the comments. I'm seeing a lot of comments on one of our pages, but I'm unable to read them. I'm unable to actually get to the comments, unfortunately. Let me see if I can. Yes. It's not refreshing for me. It's not showing. I mean, I can see the comments. I can see the numbers of comments, but unfortunately, I'm not able to read them. There are some interesting ones I would have liked to get to. All right. If we can't get to those comments, maybe perhaps in the next show, I will be able to get to some of the comments and that we can't get to today. And if there's anything wrong with the phone line, maybe we get that resolved. But at the end of the day, this this issue needs to be dealt with. I would have loved to interact with you so that I can get some people's viewpoints on this, but technology is not allowing us to do that today. At the end of the day, this issue needs to be dealt with. We need to get to a point where a politician makes a promise that is so crucial to our lives, and the moment that he does not meet the promise, we boot him out of office. We have not yet reached that point. For a president to make a promise on dealing with the military and dealing with the police force in such a way that they stop maltreating the citizens, and yet the matter gets worse and the president is still able to talk in public, is a thing of shame. Is a thing of shame. I think that we're going to round up now. I want us to go back to that fake news story very quickly, and then I'm going to round up the show. Producer, please put up for me the picture of the boy. Yes, I want to round up the show with something that I think is extremely important. It's not fake news. It's not, actually it has a little bit to do with torture. But I want to appeal to some of our viewers today. You see that young man, whether or not it is true that this happened to him, I can verify to you that this has happened to my children, where they have been devastated to the point of being, close to depression, being saddened, being afraid to go to school, refusing to go to school, preferring to stay at home because somebody is making them extremely unhappy. And we're in a society today where if you try to protect those children, the law stands against you. If you go to the school to do something about it, in many schools, the schools don't take up, the mantle and protect these young children. So it's left to the parents to cajole the children and take them to therapy sessions. And, we are getting into a world where, frankly speaking, I don't really know where we're going. I was talking to my producer, and the question came up: is there hope? Is there really any hope? Because at this point, we are getting into a society where anything goes. The bad has now become the accepted, and the good has now become shameful. We have to rectify this. It has to change. It has to stop. If it doesn't, the impact on our children will be something that we regret for centuries to come. This has been High Impact Politics with me, Kunle Olomofe, right here on Loud Silence Radio and TV Network. I hope that this show today has impacted you in a specific way to lead to you going to, wherever it is, your community, online, offline, your family, your organization where you work, your society, your community where you live, whatever, and you impact some of this information on people, and let us begin to change our people from the core. It's important because, like I said, until it happens to you personally, it's not news. It's just fun, fake news. My name is Kunle Olomofe. This has been a High Impact Politics right here on Loud Silence Radio and TV Network, and I will definitely be here with you, God willing, be here with you next week, Monday, 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Nigeria time. We were a little bit late coming on today, but hopefully next week we'll come in a little bit earlier. Come in earlier and be able to take care of the show within that time frame. I will catch you next time, and stay tuned for High Impact Politics next week. Take care.
Bonjour. La priorité des priorités, d'aucuns disent que c'est le confort supérieur. Je m'appelle Bakary Kamara. Je serai en ligne tous les lundis à partir de 12h à 2h après-midi, heure de Washington, à Loud Silence Radio pour une émission intitulée Priorité. Évidemment, c'est une émission politique s'adressant à la politique du Sénégal. Je vous remercie. Bonjour. La priorité des priorités, d'aucuns disent que c'est le confort supérieur. Je m'appelle Bakary Kamara. Je serai en ligne tous les lundis à partir de 12h à 2h après-midi, heure de Washington, à Loud Silence Radio pour une émission intitulée Priorité. Évidemment, c'est une émission politique s'adressant à la politique du Sénégal. Je vous remercie.
Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor, host of With All Due Respect. As you know, With All Due Respect has been self-produced for the past 3 years. We have not accepted any money or resources outside in order to maintain the integrity of the platform. We are an anti-corruption platform. Our work doesn't excite or encourage compromised stakeholders. That also means we cannot take funds from just anyone. As our platform grows, the need for increased quality of work and production requires increased resources during this election year and beyond. In order to maintain our anti-corruption stance and continue to speak for everyday people without clout or connections in higher places, we cannot rely on the same entities we critique for continually keeping their hands in the cookie jar to be the ones who keep our work going. In that view, I welcome your support and participation in keeping this work ongoing. This platform is for the people, so we think it is only right for the people to sustain it. Now, this is a simple thing you have to do. Just visit patreon.com/withallduerespect, patreon.com/withallduerespect, or click the link at the bottom of the video. For Ghanaians or our viewers in Ghana, we are putting together a Ghanaian payment processor on our website. Please, and please again, do not send any donation to any platform apart from patreon.com/withallduerespect or loudsilenceradio.com donation page. You can donate as low as $10. Yes, $10, and we have exciting packages for every level of donation, including one-on-one call with me, Kevin Ekobedu Taylor, access to some of the documents before they go live. You can also have dinner with me in Washington, D.C. to discuss the issues. My fellow Ghanaians, remember, it's Patreon, patreon.com/withallduerespect. Hi, my name is Kevin